Today we're going to be looking at this Seiko men's watch, and Seiko calls it a Neo Classic, and as you can see the numbers here, they kind of look like a old stopwatch, maybe from about 1910, about that era. Just really handsome. I like this watch a lot and still do, of course, and that's why I picked it out to do a video on it. A few weeks back we did another Seiko watch that was also Neo Classic. So if you like this design of the number markers, I encourage you to watch that video. Very handsome watch. It is a dress watch, certainly not casual. It has a 40mm case, not including the crown. It has these white numbers on it, as you can see, and the numbers are painted on. The movement of this watch is made in Japan, which is very nice. And the movement here, I believe it can gain or lose as much as 15 seconds per month, which is excellent. There's maybe every few months you'd have to adjust your watch a little bit. It's very accurate. It's a sapphire, which is a unique, interesting choice. Sapphire is a very nice, high-quality crystal on a watch at this price point. This watch has a retail price of $250. They made this watch. It was active in the Seiko catalog from 2018 to 2020. And you can still buy them brand new on Amazon and brand new on eBay. We see it has 100 meters water resistance. For more information on that, I did a whole video on what 100 meters water resistant really means. Okay, several interesting things about the watch that I think are interesting. Notice the hour hand here and the minute hand. Okay, they're designed different, and that kind of surprises me a little bit. And it's not a bad thing, it's just different. Let me go ahead and try to illustrate this, what I'm talking about. As I often say in my videos, I'm certainly not an artist, but let me do the best I can to kind of, here's the center of the watch, and then here's the hour hand. And then here's the minute hand. And then the second hand is just an ordinary. Okay, you see, let's first look at the picture here. The hour hand has this particular shape to it, while the minute hand doesn't have this shape to it. When I get my hands out of the way, I think you'll see what I'm talking about. Can the camera see that once the second hand goes by?
Yeah.
So there's certainly nothing wrong with that. It just kind of caught my eye as being a little bit unexpected, but no doubt Seiko did a lot of Seiko puts a lot of thought into their watches, and I'm sure that in their opinion and in most people's opinion that's a very attractive design, and I think it is too. I just wanted to point that out. Alright, the next thing I'd like to mention is that the hands and the hour markers, they do not glow in the dark. Okay, and that's okay because this is a dress watch. It's not designed to be underwater or anything like that. So remember 100 meters, don't confuse that with a diver's watch. It has this number 27 here. It has the date feature, and it's a quick set. And with Seiko watches, when you pull the crown out all the way, you can adjust the time, and then when you push it in halfway, it adjusts the date, and it's a quick set. And when you're setting the quick set, it only works when you move the crown counterclockwise. So if you get one of these watches and you're trying to change the time, and you can't get to do that, it's because you got to move it counterclockwise and not clockwise. Another beautiful part about this watch that I really like is that the case, as well as the bezel here, are very highly polished. Can the camera catch that pretty well?
Yeah.
Very highly polished. Very attractive, and of course it's all stainless steel. Okay, let's go ahead and turn it over. As we can tell immediately, it is a screw down back case, which is nice. We also notice that the first number of the 6-digit sequence is a 9, which means that this watch was made in 2019. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the band. What we have here when we look at the band is a simulated artificial alligator or crocodile texture. But the band itself is genuine leather. Okay, it's Seiko calf, so it is leather, but it's a simulated crocodile. And that's been real popular with Seiko for quite some time. Okay. I want to point out. Let me change the time on this just so that. Okay. Notice something else about this watch. I'm going to try not to get my hands in the way the whole video. You see how the lugs are? It is super easy on this watch and other watches with this lug design to switch out the band. You can put a black band in it without any texture if you want to. You could put a canvas band on it. I don't think you would because it's a dress watch. Or you could put a bracelet, a metal Seiko bracelet on it. And because of this lug design, it is super easy to do that. So if you get this watch home and you say, wow, I really like the watch a lot, but I'm not a big fan of the artificial alligator. I prefer just a leather band without that texture. It's super easy to remove these bands and to replace them. And I like that. It gives more flexibility. Okay, let's look at it from this angle. And we notice how the lugs are curved to contour to the wrist. And again, that's a really nice touch. They're not just straight out, but they contour to the wrist. And that's also very well thought out about the Seiko. Okay, and of course it has the side Seiko buckle here, just like you would expect. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the tag here real quick. Alright, it has the reference number that we'll be looking at here in a minute, the water resistance sapphire crystal, and then the caliber 7N42. This watch, the battery in it, it is a quartz watch, and it takes the 371 battery. So about 5 years from now, if you're watching this video and your battery needs to be replaced, you'll want to replace it with a 371 battery. I kind of like Energizer batteries. They last 5 or 6 years. Here is this nice paper tag reminding us as a sapphire crystal. One thing I did notice that was a little bit different about this particular watch is it doesn't have the price tag on it doesn't have the price on it here. And the other side, of course, is Seiko. So I thought that was a little bit interesting. As I mentioned, it does have a retail price at $250. Alright, let's go ahead and go to our piece of paper here. I might think of a few other things. As I mentioned 1,000 times, I always do the piece of paper so I don't forget anything. Before I forget, some of our viewers want me to put these things on my wrist to kind of give a better idea. Alright, that's not the best in the world because I don't want to buckle it because it is a brand new watch. And secondly, my hands are kind of scarred up, so I can't do anything about that, but that might give you some idea as to what the watch looks like. Okay, my wrist size is 7 3/8 inches, so that's what this watch looks like with a 7 3/8 inch wrist. Of course, it's a Seiko. If you like this particular model, which I do, or else I wouldn't have bought it. I literally bought this myself. I don't get any watches from Seiko. Doesn't sponsor me, and no department stores sponsor me. I buy these watches on my own. It's a SGEH77P1, and you can buy those on eBay. That's my preference. Now the numbers on the back, 7N420FW0. I'll mention it quickly, is that this number and the number on the front are not the same. If you want to know why the numbers on the front and the back of a Seiko watch are not the same, I have a whole video about that called Seiko Numbers, and that's here on YouTube. The first 4 digits will always be the same on the front and the back, but these digits will be different. 7N42, that's the caliber number. And the movement is made in Japan, which is very important to me. I like Seiko watches where the movement's made in Japan, not Malaysia or other places. Again, it's called a Neo Classic design, and that's because of the digits, the hour markers here, the numbers, as well as the hands have that design to it. Very classic. I love that design. I really do. 40 millimeters dress watch. That's about as big as you want a dress watch to be. It's usually between 36 millimeters and 40 millimeters. It's a real popular design. Once you enter into the 41 millimeter, it gets really a little bit too big and no longer looks nice. That is, unless you have a wrist that's a very large wrist, say an 8-inch wrist, and you could go up to 42 millimeters on the wrist. But for people that have 7.5-inch wrist or a little bit smaller, 40 millimeters works fine. Okay, it is quick set. We already talked about it. It is quartz, and it's Seiko quartz movements are extremely reliable and extremely well made. You won't be disappointed with that long term. They're good movements. We talked about how it has this leather band, and it's all stainless steel, meaning the case, the bezel ring, and the back cap. It won't corrode. Okay. And it is very polished. Everywhere is very nicely polished, and I like that a lot. It is a pure black dial, and with white hands, but the dial is not a flat black. It has a glossy finish to it, which is very handsome. Let's see here. Okay, I did not order this watch from Seiko. I think I got it on eBay or Amazon. And when I got the watch, this precise one, it did not come with booklets. So when you order a watch, and it's not from Seiko, but it's from eBay or Amazon, you want to make sure you leave a note to the seller that you only want to buy the watch if it has the booklets with it. Of course, the box and both 2 booklets. Okay. That's just something to keep in mind. Weight is 1.8 ounces. There are some sources on the internet that say 1.9 ounces. It's not a big deal, but I'm just telling you that's the weight that I got when I weighed it. I already mentioned that the hands do not glow. I already mentioned how it's very easy to change out bands. Okay, it takes a 371 battery. And, alright. And it does have the MSRP of $250. You can find these brand new in box on eBay for $130. And I'm pretty sure that's the same about price on Amazon as well as other sellers. You never want to pay retail. Sometimes you might see, as I mentioned, this watch is a 2018 to 2020 model. So now it is the year 2021, and this style is 1 year old. And for that reason, you can get it for about half off of full retail. That's what I would recommend. It's just to be a little bit patient. If there's a watch you like, and there's a good chance the price for a brand new one, this is brand new, not used, brand new watch. Okay, as I already mentioned, I picked this watch out because I just think it's an incredibly handsome watch. And if you buy this watch from somebody on eBay or Amazon, I think you'll really like it. When you buy a watch, you want to make sure that it has a return policy. That way, just in case you do get it and you change your mind that you don't like the style of it or whatever the reason may be, you can always return it. That's just a little bit of advice that I hope will be helpful. Okay, the thing I'd like to mention at the end of all of our videos is my wife and I are Christians, and we're so thankful that Christ saved us from our sins, because myself, my wife, and everybody else except for Jesus has sinned against God, and we're all deserving of being punished by God. But thankfully for Jesus, He takes that punishment for us, so that we do not have to go to hell, but go to heaven. So we go to heaven based upon Jesus' perfect life, His resurrection, His perfect merit. There's nothing that I have ever done to deserve to go to heaven, so I lean and rely upon His merit. My life is sinful. I'm not proud of it, but I sin. I'm far from perfect. So to get to heaven, I rely upon His sinlessness, so that when God looks upon me, He doesn't evaluate me based upon my sinful, wretched self, but He evaluates me based upon the sinlessness of Christ. We receive that by asking Jesus sincerely, Jesus, have mercy upon us, a sinner. Will you please forgive me of my sins? I want to go to heaven. Will you please have compassion upon me? And I put my complete trust in you. And I believe that you are Lord and that you are raised from the dead. Then after we are saved, we ask God to lead our lives and to direct our lives. And even though we are not perfect after we are saved, we want to do what's right. And we want to do what's pleasing to God. Okay, well, I do hope you enjoyed this video. This is probably one of my top 10 watches that we've reviewed here, and we've done about 180 of them. And I really like this watch, and I hope you enjoyed this video. We're going to try to do a video about every 4 or 5 days. Okay, well, thank you for watching, and have a good night.